that's big business. Hit 10, but that's big pimpin'. My potential, that's infinite. Pin game insane. Make hits like King Griffin, a 10th inning.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode, I think, 73 of the 10th Inning Podcast. I don't even know anymore.
Around here, man.
We're at that point where the numbers get too high for us to comprehend.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm Sean. That handsome fellow over there is Dan.
How you doing, guys? Today, what I have for you, it's a little bit late. I was finding my item. This is my nose thing, okay, Sean? As some of the fans know, since you know, I have a little deviated septum right here on this right side. Take a listen. Okay, that's okay, right? Now,
yeah.
Nothing. Excuse me. I don't get nothing up there. So what I do with this baby, okay, is I shove it up here, and please close your eyes for the screen strength at home. Oh, hoping that puppy's up for me, Sean. So I'm gonna have this in celebration of everyone out there who has a deviated septum. We stand with you.
All 10s of them stand with you.
And here we are, Sean. Here we are for right field. Dare I say, the best position in baseball. Maybe not the best, but has the most stars right now for sure. Even though Soto just left, it's got some firepower. I'll tell you, I have two halves on my list, Sean. The top five on my list is, probably what some people would argue the top five players in the league. To a certain degree, they're all probably in your top 15 players in the league, and then. This bottom five of this list, Sean, went back to my roots, Sean. I doubt there's going to be a lot of people that people think should be on this list. You know what? I'm losing every week anyway, guys. So you know what? I'm throwing all my chips on the table. You're going to get the most Dan list you could possibly get today on right fielder. So if you're going to, honestly, I understand if you click off the video after the first couple. Once you get to that first five, though, you're good. You're home free. It's going to be a good top five for me, I think, today, Sean. But I listed there's 17 people that I wanted in my top 10 today. 17. I only fit 10 of them in there, top 10. So that means there was 7 people that couldn't make it. That's how that. Just so everyone is now fully clear with the math, because I know there could have been some confusion.
It makes a little bit of sense, just a little bit.
Yeah. What would you like from me, Sean? Do you want to go over Fangraphs top 10 projected first, or should we save that for the end and see how we did?
I say we save that for the end.
Okay. Sean, as per the usual, so the fans don't click off, let's have you start so they get a realistic number 10.
This was a tough one. I found the lower I got, closer to 10, just to clarify, I got it was hard. I actually started from the ground up. Sometimes I'll start from 10 to 1. This one I went from 1 to 10.
Okay.
So number 10 is a guy that if you told me a couple years ago he would be in the top 10 right fielders, I would not have believed you. But nonetheless, my number 10 is Hunter Renfroe.
Okay.
He's got the pop. He's an offensive-minded player. Defense is, it is what it is. But he has really cut out a nice career for himself. Remember, he was on the Padres, and the Padres, that was when they were not very good and, didn't spend all the money, and it didn't identify as a big market team. And he's bounced around since then, played with the Red Sox, Brewers, and now, is he still on the Brewers, or where did he sign? I forget.
He is, I believe he's on the Angels, no? Is he on the Angels?
Yes, he is. Yep. Yeah. So he's a guy that surprised me a little bit. His numbers the past 2 years have been really good. And frankly, his numbers his whole career have been not too shabby. I think that he was just overlooked for quite a bit for whatever reason. I also will say he strikes out far less than I thought he did. I thought he was more of a high K rate guy, but that really was not the guy. Gave you a solid 255 average. Has pop hit 29 home runs and drove in 72 runs for the Milwaukee Brewers and was a key component of their lineup. And accumulated a 2.5 WAR. He's not a flashy player. He's not going to go out there and wow you, but he's got pop and he can drive in runs. You put him right in the middle of the lineup. You know what you're going to get from him. And Hunter Renfroe, did not expect him to be on my list, but lo and behold, he's on my list.
Now, Sean, you might have cut out there for a second. What was the strikeout rate that you had?
It was 23.
Okay, yeah, so not I guess not as bad as even I would assumed. I probably would have thought it was closer to 25, 26.
Yeah.
Well, Sean, I'll have to say I slept on him as well. As you alluded to, some people doing. And Sean, as you know, you won't take this to heart because you know this
No.
means nothing. But he was not even in my top 17 and I wanted to get into the top 10. Again, Sean, you can't even take that to heart because the names that are in the top 17 I wanted to get in my top 10. I'm sure. Most GMs don't know. You know what I mean? So God bless that. But Hunter Renfro, good player. Not my top 10. I'll tell you who is in my top 10 though, Sean. A guy you learned about pretty recently from your coach, and that is Lars Nootbaar, my number 10 right fielder this season, Sean. Let me tell you guys something about Lars Nootbaar. He had a 14.5 walk rate as a rookie. A 14.5 walk rate, I don't care who you are. I mean, that's like only, what was he, probably top 2%? I bet you Soto, maybe Schwarber. Like, I don't even think there's more than 3 or 4 players that walk more than Lars Nootbaar in the league already. We saw Soto come in and do that, so that's a good sign. Really good plate discipline. He also hits the ball insanely hard and very consistently as well. His BABIP was kind of unsustainably low at 248. I mean, especially in the minor leagues, his BABIP was pretty serviceably around 300. So I would expect his BABIP to come up to around 300, raise that batting average up from 240. I'm going to be pretty conservative, in my opinion. Obviously, I have him top 10, so who says I'm being conservative here? But 20 home runs, 260 average, a 360 on base, mix in 10 steals. He's pretty quick as well. With actually pretty decent defense, which helped me put him into this top 10. I think he's young and athletic, which will help in right field. Not a lot of great defenders in this back half of the 5. So that helped me to put him here. But a guy that's definitely going to get on base, probably play better defense than a lot of other people, has enough pop to get to 20, and the average isn't going to drag him down. So for me, I think Lars Nootbaar could sneak into the top 10 this year.
Hot button guy.
Hot button guy.
Lars Nootbaar, not very well known outside of the circle that we run in, but he's a guy I considered. I did consider him for my top 10. Not all that much, but he did enter the conversation at least a little bit. So for that, you'll get your award in the mail, Lars. I don't know what it will be, but
we'll see, Sean. Maybe he'll bring it on the pod.
Yeah, absolutely. So my number 9 guy, is Taylor Ward. Another guy that doesn't really get discussed all that much because he's on the Angels, and that seems to be a black hole where the best player in all of baseball doesn't get talked about. I guess Shohei Ohtani gets talked about, but he's just a freak of nature. But Taylor Ward, I didn't expect him. Frankly, I didn't know he played right field. He played a few other positions in the outfield. I think he played a little bit of first base a little bit last year, like a couple games. He's kind of been all around the field. But nonetheless, a guy who last year had a solid offensive season. Just bear with me. My computer is really freaking out right now, so it's jumping around.
Here we Sean, go. Tell him it's going to be okay. Tell him it's going to be okay.
If you see me on my phone, it's me trying to look it up on my phone because my laptop may not work. I have him pulled up here now. 281 average last year, by far the best of his career. Had a little bit of pop, 23 home runs, not tons, but that'll play. And drove in 65 RBIs. Strikeout rate of 20%. I wish it was 10%, and a walk rate of 10%. Not necessarily a sexy name that you think about and think, he's a top 10 player at any position in baseball. But right field, I think, is very top heavy. As we'll talk about, we got some big names up front, but in the back has a lot of room for variation, and that's why it seems so far with Hunter Renfroe and Taylor Ward being my 10 and 9. So
I'll talk about T-Wiz a little later. You'll come to know this season. Hopefully not too many of our fantasy players are watching this, but I'm a big T-Wizzle guy. I'm high on T-Wiz. I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. He's a little higher on my list, but I think 9 is a fair spot for him. My number 9, Sean, happens to be a guy that plays for you New York Metropolitans, and that is Starling Marte.
Oh, wow, that's low. Oh, boy.
And I'll say he was a last-second addition. I actually had him at 11 to fit someone else on I wanted on this list, but I said, no, it'll burn me at the end of the year when we do our thing. Let me tell you what I feel about Marte, Sean. He's starting to slow down a little bit, Sean. I'm not saying he had a bad year. He had a great year last year, 292, the whole thing. But Sean, is he going to play a full year? His injuries keep him off the field. It's not about slowing down, let's say, production-wise. It's about like the age curve and that he can't stay on the field as much. Who knows how much defense he's going to play? He's not even a solid defender anymore, really. I don't think so. Did he look like he was playing solid defense out there last year?
Yeah, he made some nice plays. He's got the speed so he can close the gaps. So they didn't look awful. Didn't look Gold Glove worthy, but not bad.
Right. But he's not like the plus defender he used to be first off in like center and left. But he's an average defender at this point. I have him hitting 18 home runs, a 280 average, a 330 on base, and 25 steals. I feel like when you hear those numbers, you say, okay, well, you're not really saying he's that bad. Those are pretty good numbers. I think you take that out of Marte every day. 18, 280, 330, 25, just say it again with average defense. I guess I'm just telling you how much I like these players above Starling Marte. You'll find out why later. I probably overrated them. I think I properly rated Marte. I'm just really high on some guys here, Sean. I know. I hear you. You're going to hate to hear who the guys are.
He's going to have a conniption over here. Oh, boy. All right. While my computer loads here, let me try and pull up enough stats here. This one may ruffle some feathers. Actually, I don't know. I'm undecided on this one. My number 8 is none other. Baltimore Orioles' own. My computer just crashed right as I was going to read his stats. You gotta love it. Anthony Santander.
Okay.
A new age player in the sense he doesn't hit for a high average, but also he does not strike out all that much. 18% K rate. So you say, why is his average not higher? Well, I don't know. If I knew that, I'd be a scout for the Baltimore Orioles. But right. I will tell you this. He had, and just out of nowhere, 33 home run season last year. His previous high was 20. Also drove in 89 RBIs. Not too shabby. Didn't walk much, 8.5%. His on base percentage was 318. You'd like to see that come up a little bit. Defense is not good, negative 11.6 defensive rating, and his WAR was 2.5. So he's kind of an interesting case when you look at it. His average was 240 and his BABIP was 248, so not much of a difference there. I don't really know how he necessarily drove in all those runs. I mean, 32 home runs is a lot of home runs, but his season was interesting to me. I'll put it that way. Okay. So I'm banking on him average coming up a bit because he doesn't strike out much, but I also need the walks to increase too. So, nonetheless, he's my number 8 right fielder. Another guy who I didn't even think was on my radar before going into ranking this position.
Well, Sean, I'll say one thing. I didn't think there was a shot in hell we'd have anyone similar in the first 5 answers or so, Sean. And we both have Anthony Santander as our number 8 right fielder. So I like to hear that. Look at that. Listen, Santander's expected on base and average have always been a decent amount lower than his actual. So it's kind of interesting. Well, not lower. I'm sorry. So his batting average and his on-base percentage have always been lower than what he's expected. He's always been expected to have a much higher average and much higher on base. That's because he's a guy that doesn't strike out. He hits the ball hard, but he didn't really walk his first couple seasons. This is also his first full year, really, of playing full games. So I don't know if the power was necessarily even out of nowhere. He's shown good power potential just in limited plate appearances. He walked 8.5% last year, like you said. Not great, but that's honestly not terrible, especially because most of his career, he was under 5. He was like at 4.5%. So he really worked hard to get that walk rate up. I expect that to continue as a trend. I think he's a more mature hitter now. He's had a couple seasons under his belt. He's more of a veteran. And power wise, he really I don't want to say he broke out, but like you said, he finally had that full season. He hit 33 home runs. But in most parks, and I know people say, well, he plays in Baltimore, so why does it matter in most parks? In Baltimore, it said he would have hit 32, which he hit 33, so right on par. But in every other park, and I know they just moved the fences back in Baltimore and they're not coming back in, but in every other park, the man should have hit 40 home runs. So for me, I think the numbers, even out a little bit, and he gets a little bit more help by hitting the ball a home run distance, let's say, Sean, when he's on the road a little bit more next year. I think he breaks out. I really feel like not that he's gotten unlucky so many times by underperforming his expected stats, but I think this is the year everything breaks right for Anthony Santander. I have 36 home runs. That's right. It's more than 33. 250 average, a 330 on base, no steals, and shit defense. But I think this guy has a really great year this year. I think everything finally breaks right instead of breaking wrong. He's got massive pop, and he doesn't strike out. So to get to 250, which is only 10 more batting average points, with a BABIP at 248, remember, league average BABIP is 300. And especially a guy that hits the ball that hard, I see no issue with him getting back up there. And if the walks increase, so will the on base. Big fan of Santander this year.
Yeah, I did not expect us to have this
Look at us,
a guy
Sean. Who would have thought?
this early on.
Who
I
would have
think
thought?
we both are so strange with how we value players that it was a perfect storm.
Yeah.
So I like that out of you. Now my number 7 here, this one may be a little controversial in the sense that people may rank him a little higher. Teoscar Hernandez. I did not really know where to put him because his defense is atrocious, but the bat has always been there. Last year, he took, by all accounts, a major step backwards on the offensive side. His average dropped by about 20 points, but I think 296 in 2021 was not sustainable. So I think 267 is more about where he'll fall. His K rate his K rate rose about 4% to 28% last year. His walk rate is quite low at 6.4%. He's still at 25 home runs, down from 32 the year prior, but like I said, 21 was definitely a career year for him. Drove in 77 runs, and got you 6 stolen bases. So overall, not a bad season. But I think people's expectations for him last year were sky high after what he showed in 2021. I think some of those expectations were a little unrealistic because they kind of got enamored with the power he had and just the prowess he had at the plate. But I think number 7 is right where he'll probably fall this year. Nothing to sneer at. I think that his ceiling is not super high, but his floor isn't low, if that makes sense. I think he'll drive in or he'll turn in a season similar to what he did last year, maybe a touch better in the home run department. But you know what you're getting with him. Not great defense, but he's a good bat in the lineup who's going to strike out a lot, not going to walk a lot, but is going to be an important cog in the lineup.
Sean, you know how I feel about Teoscar Hernandez. Regardless of how good he's been, Sean, I don't think he's done anything to me personally. I just don't like him. I think it's a personal thing, Sean. It's nothing about his major league performance. I literally went and put his name down. I started doing my projections. I was looking at him. I couldn't do it, Sean. I got nauseous. I just deleted his name. I said, you know what, guys? It ain't worth it. He wasn't even in the 17 that I was considering for the top 10.
That's insane. That is absolutely.
I don't like him, Sean. I don't like Teoscar Hernandez. I don't like him. Okay, and I'm not gonna sit here, Sean, and have you forcibly tell me that I have to have Teoscar Hernandez on my list. I'm not gonna have it. I'm not.
That's wild.
You know who I do have on my list at number 7, Sean?
Who?
Well, I'm breaking my own rules here. Because I think this guy wins the job in spring training. I don't know where Newbar moves. Maybe to left, maybe to center. But I'll tell you who the St. Louis Cardinals right fielder will be in 2023. And that'll be Jordan Walker. Red Hot's prospect. Jordan Walker is my number 7 right fielder this year. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing what I did with Julio Rodriguez last year. He's going to be on my list, not just to mention he's breaking out. He's winning NL Rookie of the Year this year, and he's going to be on my list when he does it. Okay? This man is an absolute monster. He is a monster. I wanted to check. I'm like, okay, how's he doing in spring? Is he really going to make it? I know it was a shock that they even invited him to spring. They're saying they're giving him a real shot. Sean, he's 9 for 21, hitting 429 with 3 ding dongs already. All right, the man is just 3 ding dongs and 3 doubles. The man is just a fucking absolute monster. He's a monster. He's 6'6". He runs like a gazelle. He's like Judge, but like with actual speed. I know Judge stole 16 last year, but this guy's got more speed. In the minors, he's a career 310, 388 hitter. He's done the same thing across 2 seasons, which is 317, 388, 306, 388. He's never not had a 388 OBP. Does that happen in the major leagues? No. But I'll tell you what I do think he's going to do. 25 home runs, a 280 average, a 350 on base, 25 steals. And if you ask me, it sounds pretty eerily similar to Julio Rodriguez, who just did that last season. You can't act like it has never been done in a rookie season before. And if there's a talent to do it, my take, Jordan Walker is a more talented baseball player than Julio Rodriguez was at that stage, at that point in time. Julio is probably better now because he has more maturity. I wouldn't be shocked if Jordan Walker could put up the same season Julio just did last year.
Well, I know what our clip's going to be this week.
Come on now, baby.
Wow. That is saying something, and I like that you're doing that. You're putting your cojones on the line right there.
That's it. They're out there, Sean. They're dropping on the table.
Yeah, I like that for you. I won't comment one way or another if I think it's smart or not, because what's the fun in ruining someone's dream, you know?
Sean, I appreciate that. And please keep that state of mind for the next one, too, for me.
Oh boy, Vinny Pasquantino moved to right field, folks. Watch out. Oh, God. What are we up to, 6 right now?
I think we
my
are.
number 6 is having a Partey, Starling Marte. It's a Marte Partey.
Sean, I had him at 8. Didn't I have him at 8?
You did.
You were complaining over 2 spots with me, Sean. No, I had him at 9. I had him at 9. Okay,
Hey,
had him at 9.
Going, you know? Gets people going. Starling Marte
2 spots is a lot.
is a solid player, consistent as can be. He hits for a high average. He'll knock you out 15 to 20, maybe 23 bombs a season. Doesn't strike out all that much. Doesn't walk too much. His walk rate dropped 4%, quite a bit, but has also rose 4% to get 2021. But nonetheless, his stolen bases dropped from 47 to 18, which is quite a considerable drop in 2 less games last year compared to the year before. That may also be the Mets' team. Well, if you let me finish, the Mets as a team did not run all that much last year. He ran a lot early in the year, and once he did kind of mess up his hamstring, it did limit him. I will say this, Starling Marte, the Mets have some good players. Starling Marte was the key to that team last year. Once he got injured in late August and September, even before then actually, the Mets' lead in the division shrank and evaporated, and they never really recovered after that. That was pretty much correlates to when he went out of the lineup. So take that for what it is. He's just a solid player all around. His defense has slipped, but he's got the speed. He's no longer in center field, so the defense you can kind of hide a little bit in the corner outfield spots. And he seems to be a guy who's very well liked in the clubhouse. Always seems to be happy, and he's just a guy. He's a baseball player. Not to steal your term, but he's a baseball player, and I'm happy he's on my team.
I was just going to even butt it and say that, like, he's just a professional hitter. Once was a 5-tool-ish player, still is a 5-tool-ish player. They're just a little diminished because, he's a little bit older, has a little bit of injury history. I already talked about him, but professional hitter, no love lost for Starling Marte. Used to be one of my favorite players of all time, still is one of my favorite players. And I think the veteran presence, like you said, that's unmatched for a team as well, especially to have him at the top of the lineup. I think that does a lot. Kind of sets people back in their place. So I don't disagree with his value. His uncalculable value.
The intangibles.
Sean, I'm gonna need you to just do something for me, okay? I know you said we had the clip already, but I need you to just maybe, I don't know if I'm saying reel it in, but like this, I just understand. Take me for who I am, okay? Okay.
Okay.
I want to share. I want to roll a clip. Okay.
Okay.
This is J.P. Crawford. Okay, Sean. Shortstop of the Seattle Mariners.
The present company excluded, so you can't say yourself. Give us one Mariner who's going to be that sneaky pick to click, that guy who you think is going to have a big year that maybe people aren't looking for.
Jared Kelenic. You heard it here first.
There it is.
Or if someone else didn't answer that first.
No, that's, hey, man. He's
yeah, I'm going with Jared.
3 homers already.
Tell me why, real quick, what you're seeing different now than last year.
Man, the confidence is through the roof. Ever since he walked in here the first day, you could just tell something clicked and something changed just all around. You could just tell he grew up a little bit and he matured this offseason. And, you know, his approach, his swing is looking locked in right now. So, yeah, he's my pick for sure.
Sean, I don't know if you heard that. I hope you did.
Oh, I heard.
It's time. It's time. This is the year. No more waiting. This is the year. This is the year. I was just about to trade him to Leif, Sean, on this offseason. Just about to drop him. I said, I can't have this shit on my team. The guy's got a 215 MLB on base percentage. His batting average is like 140 over like 2 seasons. I can't. I mean, this is just not, it's not even bad. It's like unbelievably bad. I'm just too invested to quit now, Sean. And he's done it again. He's pulled the heartstrings again. He's hitting 400 with 3 bombs. 4 bombs now. 2 of them, the first 2 bombs, I didn't buy in. They were both to left field, pulled. These last 2 bombs, both to right field, pulled, I'm sorry. Left field, dead center over the batter's eye. Sean, I'm telling you. And everyone knows this is mental. At this point, all the conversation is, can Jared Kelenic stop, the fucking mental issues and play baseball? No offense, people with mental issues. I'm just saying that's what it is. It's a confidence thing. Everyone knows it's a confidence thing. No one's saying Jared doesn't have like actual skill because he goes on AAA, he's hitting fucking 350, mashing ding dongs. Maybe it's just another spring. He's going to get to the regular season and suck again because he's hitting it off of AAA pitchers right now, or what say you? But I have way too much invested, Sean, to stop now. I just do.
Well, unfortunately, someone showed you the clip that we had on Instagram of him hitting a ding dong dead central. You know what? I don't want to rip it because he could do well. I will say 6. I mean, you could have put him at 10. It still would have been controversial.
I could have, for sure.
Putting him at 6 is like asinine.
It is. It is.
But
yeah.
I didn't rip you in the last pick. I'm not going to rip you on this one because for your sake, I hope it works out and you're putting yourself on the line here. Just know you're going to get like real vicious comments on the post. People are going to question your ability to see, smell, hear, talk when they see that.
I mean, people asked if I was brain dead when I put Max Muncy on my list. So I am, I'm ready for it.
You handled it well. You handled it really well.
Just to give my projection, Sean, it's 30 home runs, a 270 average, 330 on base, 12 steals, and honestly, the reason he is number 6, there's a lot of reasons that got him to number 6, but the reason that he was able to make it this high is really the fact that he can play defense. I think he's going to be, again, like Newport, young and athletic. I think I have him at 2 for defense, which compared to Marte and Santander and Jordan Walker, who's playing his first time in right field ever. He's a third baseman his whole career. And some people above, I think defensively, he's going to be pretty good. So, number 6, right fielder, Sean, Jared Kelly, baby. I'm all in. Drinking the Kool-Aid.
I should have expected that. I really should have. And that's on me. That's on me. I'll take accountability here.
Gave all the hints I could.
Well, I'm my number 5. Just gonna move on.
Yeah, no, please.
My number 5, Adolis Garcia.
I like him.
Last year he was top 10. I had not heard of him until last year, or I guess 2021 is what I meant. The guy just mashes, man. He mashes home runs. 31 the year before, 27 last year. His RBIs, he broke the 100 RBI plateau, which doesn't mean as much as he used to, but to me, it means a lot. His average went up 7 points to 250. On base percentage went up from 286 to 300. Still like to see that go up, but you'll take improvements. Defensively, not bad. I think he's the first guy on my list who has a positive defensive rating on Fangraphs, a 0.5, but still positive. So
Close.
we will take that step in the right direction. He strikes out a lot, 27%, but he cut that down from 31% the year prior, so that still is an improvement. Mind you, he's still only been in the league basically 4 years, 2 full seasons. The rest were call-ups. He's 29, a bit on the older side, but I don't necessarily always see that as a bad thing. He's experienced. Texas is going to have some more pop, in that lineup this year. Seager's going to be better. Semion's going to be better. We've already talked about them at length. He's going to slot right in and just kind of mash those home runs and drive runs in and play, dare I say, slightly above the average defense. Adolis Garcia is my number 5 right fielder.
Sean, you dare say, and let's not fail to mention, he's like a 25-25 guy too. Like he also steals. Like he is crazy speedy.
Yeah,
well, obviously when you hear the kind of guys who are on my list, Jordan Walker, Jared Kelenic, he didn't make my list just because I couldn't find room for him. But he was
100 RBI plateau, Dan.
What'd you say?
He broke the 100 RBI threshold.
I know. That should have got an automatic spot. But he was part of the 17 I wanted to get on. He just strikes out a little bit too much for me. That's the only reason I guess he didn't make it. And mostly, well, that's not the only reason. The on base. The on base is just, he doesn't walk at all. What was his on base last? Like 300 or so? He's like hovering around 300-ish. That's the only thing. Analysts are saying he's probably going to hit 295 on base, which I think he did the year before while having the great year. Like he's still, 30 homers, close to 30 bags. He could be a 30-30 guy and have like a 295 on base, which I don't even understand how is physically possible, Sean. That's a new age player if there's ever been one. I don't even know what age that's from. But the under 30% on base is just a little bit sketch for me. But I mean, he's got crazy tools. So I don't think it's a bad ranking for you. My number 5, Sean, is a guy you talked about, believe it or not. And it's T Wizzle. I'm a big fan of T Wiz. He had an insane first 2 months. He had a garbage middle 3 months, and then had an insane last month. He was also had a wrist injury in the middle there, which he played through and then took time off. And we don't know how much that played in. A lot of the talk is like, well, he was injured. So like he's just the good months, which is like a 320 average with a 420 on base and like 8 homers a month. Like he was going crazy. If you play the show, he had like the April and May cards or whatever, because T Wiz was just going bonkies, all-star, the whole jazz.
Not jazz.
No, not that kind of jazz. But let's say it wasn't the rest, and he's just streaky, and he just does what he did last year. Like you said, that's 280, 360. Like that's like, even if he's like that streaky, that's an insanely good, like his ups are crazy. And he did have a little bit of prospect pedigree. It's just been a while. He hasn't really turned it on. He's kind of older now, but he's finally breaking out. And sometimes it just takes players a little longer, to get there and mature. So I honestly think my projections are conservative because I'm assuming it's not a wrist injury and he's just streaky, which I don't think is the case. But for projections, I try and be a little bit more conservative. I have 24 homers, 280 average, 360 on base, 8 steals, and slightly above average defense. Which, I mean, you're not going to get much better than slightly above average defense on this list in the top, from 10 to 5. Close to 25 homers, 280, 360, good on base, and he's quick too. And I'll tell you, a red baseball savant. A lot of red dots there. Big T Wiz fan.
I like that.
Thank you.
I don't have too much to add. I really don't.
I appreciate it.
You left me speechless. If Kellena couldn't do it, I don't know what could.
Yeah.
Anyway, my number 4. I think we're gonna have a very similar number 4 through 1.
I hope
Kyle
so.
Tucker is my number 4.
Who?
Kyle Tucker.
Never heard of him.
No, he's okay. overshadowed on the Astros by the bigger names like Bregman, Altuve, Yordan Alvarez. But Kyle Tucker is as important to that lineup as anybody else, if not the second most important behind Yordan Alvarez. Does not strike out much, 15% K rate. Love that. He drove in 107 runs last year, 30 home runs. His average dropped quite a bit from 294 the year prior to 257. The home runs stayed the same and the K rate stayed the same. Walks stayed the same. So I think he may have just been getting a little bit unlucky. I don't have those numbers in front of me. My computer is quite literally not working. So nonetheless, a good defender. Let me tell you this. His defensive rating in 2021 was a negative 7.3, right? His defensive rating last year was a positive 1.6. That is a massive turnaround. Massive. I know right field and the outfield in Houston in general is not huge. So unless you're playing center, that's pretty spacious. But right and left field are not big, so that helps, I'm sure. But that's quite an improvement. Had a WAR of 4.7. Doesn't get talked about enough, which is crazy because the Astros are always good. They always seem to have the primetime games. They win the World Series every other year, it seems. But Kyle Tucker is that,
That dude
in the machine. Yeah, he just keeps on ticking, and I expect him to have very much the same year he had last year with an average that's closer to the 280 range. So,
yeah, I agree. I'm a little bit higher. I will say though, Sean, I just realized I did make a mistake. Technically, when I go back through my rankings, Lars Nootbaar was number 11. Everyone kind of slides down one. I had two people ranked at number 5. So that's kind of an issue. I don't know. So I'm technically at number 5 again, Sean. I will do number 5 and 4 very quickly. Okay. And what I think you forgot this guy number 5 as well. That's my take. I think we both forgot him, and maybe we just both leave him off, and I'm fine with that as a statement. Number 5 is Fernando Tatis Jr. Right fielder for the San Diego Padres. Is that who you forgot too? Because I'm looking at my top 4. I know he has these 4. Are we making a statement as a 10th inning podcast and just saying Fernando Tatis Jr. doesn't make the top 10s for us? What are we doing?
I think we're making that statement.
Okay. And they're making a statement. Guys, this is how I would have ranked him. Look at what he did last time. He played 130 games. He hit 42 homers. He went crazy. But he also wasn't out of baseball for a year, rusty, and possibly was on roids before. Just quickly, my projections would have been 30 home runs, 275 average, 340 on base, 25 steals. I mean, he's one of the best talents in baseball, but maturity issues, injuries, and that kind of stuff has really taken a toll on him. And for that reason, the 10th Inning Podcast does not back that kind of player.
Even though he's my number 1 pick in my draft.
It's not that we forgot. My number 4 is Mookie Betts, though. The average he used to hit. You got him higher. What do you got him 2? You got him 2, Sean?
He's up there. He's up there somewhere.
All right. He doesn't hit for the average he used to hit. He's not going to hit 290, 300 anymore, in my opinion. But he had his best home run season last year. Again, the speed's down a little bit too. The defense isn't as great as it used to be. He used to be probably the best right fielder in baseball, no doubt. And he still might be the best right fielder in baseball defensively. I'm not saying he isn't, but he's not like as clear and above as clear and above the rest in that category as he used to be. So for those kind of 3 knocks, I got him here at 4. 32 home runs, 265 average, 345 on base, 14 steals, and pretty great defense and phenomenal leadership as well. There's just 3 guys that are pretty crazy players up there in front of them.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's I do have him higher. I'll say that.
Okay.
My number 3 is a guy who I quite literally tore apart last year in the rankings. Last year when Leif was on, you guys had to stop me from saying something I would regret in the future. Ronald Acuna Jr. is number 3 for me. Tough to rank him because last year was really a lost season for him due to injury. What we saw was not the real Ronald Acuna Jr. Really was not able to play the defense he had played. He was a plus defender last year, had a negative 10 rating. That's not really who he is. Offensively, still did okay when you consider what happened. He still swiped 29 bags, which is more than what he had in 2021. But again, that was another injury-plagued season. So the injuries are already a concern, but he's only 24 years old, so that helps him there. But when he's healthy, he hits for an average, power. He draws his walks. There's really not really anywhere to pick at his game. The maturity is an issue, as we've seen. So the big issues for me are just maturity and durability. But he's got all 5 tools. If there was a 6th tool, he'd have it. And my number 3.
I like it. He's a little bit higher on my list. Not that I wanted to. We have very similar feelings on Ronald Acuna Jr. But as far as a player, man, we should have picked one player to fucking not rank. It would have been Ronald Acuna Jr. I didn't want to put him where I put him because I just not a huge fan of him. My number 3 is Kyle Tucker. His BABIP was 40 points lower than his career norm. He was on countless episodes of Player to Watch because we kept saying he's going to break out. He's going to break out. He's going to break out. Never exactly happened. But he did get a little bit better throughout the season. Also, I don't know how he steals 25 bases with 30th percentile speed. I mean, he does not have that much speed. He steals 25 bags. He's got to be the slowest guy to steal bases like that. What do you say?
Baseball player right there.
Baseball player. No, I mean, like, it just shows, stealing's not all about speed. It's a skill as well. God bless, anyway. Also, he's not better than Aaron Judge. Sean, I gotta say something here. I've been on the record saying that Kyle Tucker is better than Aaron Judge, and I was wrong. I'm sorry to Leif. I'm sorry to Zeke. Not that he was offended by it, but I'm sorry to anyone involved at that Applebee's and other places that I've said that Kyle Tucker is better than Aaron Judge. I was wrong. I was uneducated. I was ignorant, and it's just not the case. Kyle Tucker is not better than Aaron Judge at anything. And it was silly of me to assume that. I don't know why I was so disparaging of Aaron. Maybe I was jealous. I don't know, but I'm sorry. My projections for Kyle Tucker: 30 home runs, 275 average, 350 on base, and 22 steals, with, as you said, pretty decent defense at this point. Really great all-around player.
Yeah, I don't have much to add to that.
Thank you.
I would have loved to have him over ahead of Acuna, but I could not justify that.
Me neither.
Yeah. Anyway, my number 2, Mookie Betts. Basically what I'm going to say is you can't put him over Judge after the season he had last year. No matter how you look at it. So that's why he's number 2, really. The average has dropped, like you said. It's crazy to think that in 2018 he had a 346 average for the Red Sox. It has declined since. Last year he went up to 269 after being down to 264 the year prior. The home runs increased last year, career high 35. The average, I think, is pretty much where it's going to stay. I think he might be trying to hit for more power than he had been in Boston. The home run totals in Boston were high, but he also played at Fenway and was a right-handed hitter. Sorry. He's a lefty, isn't he?
No, he's a righty. He's a righty.
Yeah, I'm all messed up right now. He's a righty. Sorry about that, folks. Green Monster and right, left, Jesus, is...
You're right there. You're right there.
The computer's not working, and neither am I. Defensively, by far the best right fielder out there. It has declined a bit, but he's getting a little bit older. 29 injuries have been a bit of a concern lately. Baseball player, doesn't strike out much, takes his walks, and he's a guy I'd have my team any day of the week and twice on Sunday. Great clubhouse.
You say now you had said there, Sean, twice on Sunday.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just confirming with you that throughout the season as well, just to make sure that hasn't changed. My number 2 right fielder is Ronald Acuna Jr., so we kind of did a flip-flop there. Acuna had a rough year last year, like Sean said, and some could be attributed to injury, but it's not like he got better throughout the season too, at least in my opinion. He stole 20 bases in his first 60 games, Sean. 20 bags in 60 games. He stole 9 in the next 60. And he also got caught 5 times while doing that. So that's a little bit concerning for me because he came out the gates hot. Everyone's like, is he even going to steal it first? Because, it's all the knee issues. He steals 20 in 60 games. I'm like, okay, he's fine. Then he only steals 9 in the next 60 and also gets caught more than half the time that he's stealing. So I don't know how to feel about that. However, he's got every single tool in the tool shed. My projections are 30 home runs, a 275 average, 365 on base, and 30 steals. He's the definition of a 30-30 player. Both 30 and 30 are somewhat conservative, especially to projections. When people think he could be 40-40, and he could be. He's damn near done that. I'm pretty sure he has done that probably. So that's Ronald Acuna Jr. for you. He's just an insane player. I'm just not a fan though, Sean, just to be clear.
Yeah, no, neither am I, if anybody didn't realize that about me. He's not my kind of guy. But
We ready? Ready to do it together?
yeah, no, we should do this together as a podcast.
All right. Our number one right fielder for 2023 is Aaron Judge. He did it. He did it, folks. Sean, you want to talk about him first? Or you want me to go?
I don't have much to say, so I'll go real quick. I also want to make an apology to Leif and Yankee fans out there. Last year, I think I had him like 4, and I said Aaron Judge was overrated. His rookie year was what kind of stuck in people's minds. Injury prone, and he took that and shoved it down my throat.
Wow.
Did everything well. He is a solid defender, plus defender, hits for an average last year. Home runs, obviously, hit 62, 131 RBIs, walked almost 16%. What else do you got to say? It's a nice contract extension, and he stayed healthy last year. He played in 157 games. The year prior, he played in 148. So the notion of him getting injured is completely thrown out the window now. 2 straight seasons of playing, a lot of games, and Aaron Judge is the number 1 right fielder.
And he might be the number 1 player too. Last year he had that average breakout, meaning his batting average was a lot higher, as was his BABIP. It was real. I actually predicted it was going to be real. I don't know if you guys remember, but in last year's projections, I thought his batting average was going to go up, but I also thought that was going to come with his home runs being suppressed. I thought he was hitting more for average, less the home runs, and I bought into the whole average thing. Unfortunately, or fortunately for him, he did keep the average, but he also kept the homers and increased it. He just became a better hitter. I feel like the 16 stolen base thing is like a contract year thing, Sean. I don't know how you feel about that. I don't know about 16 bags. It's like Boris is in his ear like, hey, man, let's make sure you get like the speed component too. So they're not like, oh, you're not an all-around player like some other top guys. Make sure you get paid. And that's a wild thing to say for me, maybe. I don't think he steals 16 bags this year. I don't think the Yankees let him steal 16 bags this year. I think it's ridiculous for a guy of his size and his injury history. No, 2 years in a row, but like there's no reason to risk someone his size after they gave him that money to steal 16 bags. I think he'll steal 10 anyway. Coming into this ranking, like I said, I thought Kyle Tucker was probably going to be better. I was going to be a hot take. I was going to put Tucker there. It's going to be everything. And I've been on record saying that this was his best potential outcome this season. And after doing a deeper dive, Sean, I'm on the train. And I think I was wrong about that too. I think I was really, really wrong about Aaron Judge. I have full flipped. I think Aaron Judge could actually even have a better year this year. I know that's insane. It's probably the best year you could possibly imagine, but I don't know. I didn't think I'd be where I am today, and I'm on the Aaron Judge hype train. 65 home runs is what I'm projecting, Sean, and that is more than what he hit last year, just to be clear. A 305 batting average, a 430 on base, and 10 steals. I think his on base and home runs can go up. Simply because projection systems, as far as what expected stats said they could, which is shocking because you would have assumed they could only possibly say they could go down. But I mean, every indicator points to he is probably just the best hitter in baseball right now, which is, I'm sorry, Aaron. I'm sorry, your family. I was wrong. I'm in. I bought in. I'm done.
Okay.
No more fighting it, Sean.
I'll join you. As a podcast, we're taking a stand against Aaron Judge hate. That came from us.
Of course. And Sean, on that note, I think I might be coming home.
Yes.
I think I might be
Yes.
coming home.
You gotta be this rivalry going again.
I think I might be coming home. Guys, give me a second, Sean. I'll edit this out.
Oh god. This is groundbreaking.
Listen, Sean, it's been a long time. It's been a long time since I've donned the pins, and it took a long it took a long time, and it took a lot of stuff from the Dodgers to bring me here to this moment today. But I have to say, after this past off season, seeing Justin Turner get hit in the face, Verdugo and Kike Hernandez and Justin all having a nice conversation, Bellinger out there in Chicago, Corey Seager doing his thing in Texas, then being an asshole to Kershaw. I'm ready to come home. Clayton is still my favorite player. He'll always be my favorite player. I'll be watching Dodgers games once every 5 days to root for him. I'm actually getting a little emotional here, Sean. But I'm back here now, working for the Long Island Ducks. It doesn't seem like I'm leaving Long Island. Born and raised, and am I not only home as far as moving back from North Carolina here? It seems like I'm home for good, and I want to come home to the team that I grew up with. I want to be able to go to the stadium right down, a couple hour away, and just root for them like they're my home team, as they are. And I'm ready to be a Yankee, Sean. I'm ready to come home. Aaron, you're not my favorite player, but I'm with you now, babe. I'm with you.
Now, I have some questions, if you don't mind me asking.
Please.
So you're cutting ties with the Dodgers entirely.
Sean, they're still my second favorite team. The Dodgers are still my second favorite team. Like I said, I can't cut ties with Clayton.
No.
But if the Dodgers and the Yankees were in the World Series this year, I'm rooting for the Yankees. I hope Clayton has a good start. Hope he has a good start, but I hope he loses the game. I'm home.
Wow.
I'm home. I am home. That's it. Full send. I'm home.
I'm honestly glad. It's better, for us when we're adversarial. Obviously, Dodgers, Mets, but not that much. Yankees, Mets. And the Dodgers have really hurt you over the years. So I've watched them, hurt you. I do have one other question, though.
Yeah.
Does your decision now take anything away from that 2020 World Series championship you attended in Texas?
No. Sean, that was the greatest day of my entire life. And I think it's going to take a special moment, like a birth of a child, to change that.
Do you have any news about that?
I don't have any news on a potential birth of a child. No, watching Clayton pitch Game 5 was just a dream come true. I mean, watching Clayton pitch a World Series game where he played well in, Sean, how many people get to say they've seen that? Not many. A lot of people have seen him playing games, but not play well. And I was one of those people. And then to get to see them win, oh, man. Mookie Betts with the home run. I mean, Sean, I can't even. Julio, I can't. I'm actually getting. There's a lot of emotions going on right now. This is a big moment for me. I actually didn't know I was going to do this tonight. I actually had no plan to do this. It was just through talking about Judge, I started thinking, I've been on the fence, and it just felt like, I was going to make a separate video. Just felt like the right time on this podcast. I felt like I was in a safe place.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Wow. I'm home. Sean, it's been 10 years. It's been get a little emotional here. It's been 10 years.
Say it with you. Ready? 27. All right.
27.
Yeah, get that going. I
The
can't
most World Series in the entire MLB, Sean. 27. No one's even fucking close. Talk about St. Louis. What do you got? 10 St. Louis? Jesus
That's
Christ.
12.
Whatever, man. Yeah, talk to me when you hit the 20s.
Glad to have you back.
I'm glad to be back. Go to a Subway Series this year, Sean.
Let's do it. Stop.
I'm hoping I get a Yankee.
I'm gonna have to look it up on my phone tonight, so you don't have to wait an hour for me to.
We don't have a Yankee, but we have Luis Salazar. Luis Ernesto Salazar, born May 19th, 1956, home of Guarenas, Venezuela. God, man, I'm bad at that. Had a drop off at the plate last year after excellent showings his first 2 seasons with the Padres. Still rates as their number 1 third baseman. Hit .323 in Buffalo in '79, leading the Eastern League in hits in 181 and runs in 108. That's a filthy minor league season. And then followed up by hitting .316 for Portland and Hawaii in the Pacific Coast League in 1980 before recall by the Pirates. This man hit a little bit first 2 years. .337 in 44 games, and then .303 in 109. Not a big pop guy. He's hitting.
Over 1,000 hits in his career.
Okay. Yeah, that guy hit. Stole some bases now, too. I see 32 bags in his first full year. All right.
Yeah.
What was his most amount of steals in a year?
He had 32 in 82.
That was it? Okay.
Career
I like
261
him.
hitter. Played for 13 years. And you want a little fun fact on him?
Please do.
He's or he was at least a coach in baseball here. Let me see.
I like how his picture here is him bunting. You don't see that a lot. That's pretty
You don't see
interesting.
that, especially nowadays.
Very cool.
Actually, he's the manager for the Atlanta Braves single A team, the
There we
Florida
go.
Fire Frogs.
Fire frogs. Huh. Well, Luis Ernesto Salazar, your rookie debut where you hit .337 will not be forgotten now. So congratulations on that, Luis. Congratulations to anyone who made it through this episode. Saw a lot of things. Sean, there's a lot of things I'm going to have to clip. I mean, Jesus Christ. I might have 18 clips from this.
Congratulations to the Yankees for gaining you back.
I got to get a Yankee hat, Sean. I don't even think I have one anymore. I just got this jersey. I just got it. I don't know if you saw the tags flying. I just got it for my graduation. I got
It hasn't been that long, huh? That you don't have any more Yankee apparel, huh?
Sean, it hasn't been too long, but I'll tell you, I don't fit in whatever I used to have. All right? I don't want to put it that way. I got Yankee apparel I fit in now. How about that now for the fans back home? Sean, next week, we got the pitchers, right?
Yeah. And we got something better. We're gonna be in person.
In-person pitching, huh? Maybe I'll pitch live on the podcast. How do you feel about that?
We'll see. You guys have to tune in to find out.
Well, guys, before we go, just want to say thank you for constantly getting down in the comments on the Instagram posts. Do that on the YouTube videos as well. The likes and the comments are really coming. We just hit 500 followers on Instagram. If you're coming over from Instagram, thank you. Leave us a sub, leave us a like, leave us a comment. Let us know what we could do better. Make the content more interesting for you. We appreciate you dearly, and we will see you for the pitcher rankings next week on the 10th Inning Podcast.